Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast that digs deep into the day's top stories. I'm your host, Walter. We're glad you're joining us today as we explore some of the most significant and intriguing news from around the world. To start off, let's take a look at a developing story out of the United States. Reports are emerging of mass firings within the U.S. Health Department, specifically targeting employees within the Department of Health and Human Services, including the esteemed Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC. These terminations, which initially affected over 4,000 federal workers, with around 1,100 to 1,200 from HHS alone, have sent shockwaves through the health community. It's worth noting that some of these terminations were rescinded on Saturday, following what was described as a coding error. However, the extent of the damage and the exact number of employees still affected remains unclear. What is clear, though, is the significant impact this could have on critical health services and research programs. The CDC, in particular, has been at the forefront of responding to major health crises, including outbreaks of measles and Ebola. The idea that staff working on these fronts, as well as those involved in crucial scientific publications like the Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report, might be let go is not only alarming, but also raises questions about the future of public health in the U.S. We'll continue to follow this story closely and provide updates as more information becomes available. It's a complex situation with many layers, from the legal challenges to the implications for global health initiatives. As always, we strive to present a balanced view, acknowledging the concerns on all sides while seeking clarity amidst the uncertainty. For now, let's take a brief pause. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into the latest news from around the world. Our next story takes us to the island nation of Madagascar, where a dramatic power struggle is unfolding. Reports indicate that President Andry Rajoelina's government is facing a significant challenge after an army unit claimed it had taken over leadership of the military command and was now in control of all the armed forces. This development has sparked widespread protests in the capital city, with some troops joining demonstrators on the streets. The presidency has confirmed that an attempt to seize power illegally is underway, and President Rajoelina's whereabouts are currently unknown. There are speculations that he may have left the country, possibly in a French military aircraft, after striking a deal with French President Emmanuel Macron. To better understand the situation, let's take a look at the key players involved. The army unit at the center of this power struggle is known as CA-PAPSAT, which has a history of influencing politics in Madagascar. In 2009, CA-PAPSAT supported a revolt that led to Rajoelina coming to power, and now it seems they are turning against him. Analysts believe that CAPSAT's control of important aspects of the army, including personnel management and logistics, makes them a significant force in the country's politics. The installation of a new chief of army staff, chosen by CAPSAT, has further consolidated their importance in the army. As the situation continues to unfold, opposition members of Madagascar's National Assembly have announced plans to begin impeachment proceedings against President Rajoelina. Protesters, meanwhile, are celebrating what they see as a victory, singing the national anthem and waving flags on the streets. It's essential to note that the situation in Madagascar is complex and multifaceted, with various stakeholders vying for power and influence. As we continue to monitor developments, it's crucial to consider the potential implications of this power struggle, not just for the country, but also for the region as a whole. We'll be keeping a close eye on this story and providing updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that Madagascar is at a critical juncture, and the outcome of this power struggle will have far-reaching consequences. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We've had a fantastic show so far, discussing everything from the latest developments in technology to the most pressing social issues of our time. But as we wrap up today's episode, I want to bring your attention to a story that's been making waves in the world of international politics. As you may have heard, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to meet with President Donald Trump at the White House on Friday. This meeting comes amid reports that the U.S. is considering approving Tomahawk missiles for Ukraine, which would mark a significant escalation in the country's ongoing conflict with Russia. Now, I know some of our listeners may be thinking, What's the big deal about Tomahawk missiles? Well, these long-range missiles could potentially be used by Ukraine to strike inside Russia, which has understandably raised concerns in Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that such a move would be a qualitatively new stage of escalation in the conflict and could have serious consequences for relations between Russia and the US. But on the other hand, some argue that providing Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles could be a game-changer in the country's fight against Russian aggression. It could give Ukraine the upper hand it needs to defend itself and potentially bring an end to the conflict sooner rather than later. As always, we want to present both sides of the story here on Concrete Block. We're not taking a stance or promoting any particular agenda. Our goal is simply to keep you informed and up to date on the latest developments. It's worth noting that this meeting between Zelensky and Trump comes at a sensitive time, with tensions between Russia and the US already running high. But it also presents an opportunity for diplomacy and dialogue, which could potentially lead to a breakthrough in the conflict. As we go to air, details of the meeting are still emerging, but one thing is clear: this is a story that will continue to unfold in the days and weeks ahead. We'll be keeping a close eye on it and bringing you all the latest updates as more information becomes available. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.